Are you looking for inspiration on a daily basis? Well, check out Deal to Heal Tees. With our inspirational tees, you're sure to find something that will inspire you. Just go to dealtohealtees.myshopify.com. That's Deal to Heal Tees. Get some inspiration in your situation. Wear inspirational tea and be inspired all day. That's Deal to Heal Tees at dealtohealtees.myshopify.com. Hey guys, this is Earnest James, host of the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, and I got a question to ask you. Could you buy me a cheeseburger? Better yet, could you buy me a value meal? Yes? Well, guess what? I don't need a value meal. However, for the cost of a value meal, you can support this podcast to keep us on the air. Just go to Patreon/Deal to Heal podcast and choose any one of the 3 tiers that's available. And if you just want to make a one-time donation, go to Cash App and make a donation to $EJames, the number 418. Make a one-time donation to the Cash App, or again, go to Patreon to support this podcast and keep us on the air. Thanks in advance. Be blessed. Welcome to Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. On this podcast, my guest and I will discuss topics and ways to help us to heal in every area of our lives. I believe that everyone can live a life that is happy, healthy, and whole. So I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to it. Welcome to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. I'm your host, Earnest James, and I believe that everyone can live a life that is whole, healed, and healthy. And therefore, I'm on a mission to help people to deal, to heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. If you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to our podcast, to our YouTube channel on YouTube, to our Facebook page where we can connect with you more on a day-to-day basis, one-on-one, to share more instant information, and also our platform, our Spotify platform. Make sure you guys follow us there also. And hold on to the end. I was going to tell you how you can win $100 from the podcast, right? And it don't cost you nothing. I'll tell you how you can win $100 from the podcast, but you got to stay until the end to get that information. So we're going to jump right into it today. Just like any other day, we are blessed with a guest, Mr. Logan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Ernest. How are you, my brother?
I am good. First of all, let me say thank you for being on, because I know you could be doing anything else, but you're here with me and my listeners, and we definitely appreciate you being here.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, man. It's a privilege and an honor. I really appreciate it.
No problem. So we're going to jump right in. So, Logan, do me a favor. Introduce yourself to my listeners and tell us who you are and what it is exactly that you do.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So first, I am a father first before anything. Yes, YB Normal is the company that I run. It is the thing that I do. I am YB Normal, right? But I'm a father first. And so that's my first ministry, and that's the most important ministry to me. So, for me, I'm a father of 3. I have Noah, I have Ryan, and then, of course, I have my namesake, Logan Jr., but we call him Deuce. And so those 3 are my pride and joy. And then, of course, I have my grandmother who raised me since I was a baby. And then, of course, YB Normal, who we are and what we do. We help economically disadvantaged at-risk youth. We help them overcome obstacles through empowerment speaking and curriculum development. And so what that looks like is that we go all over the country. I work in the education space. Specifically, my target audience is middle school and high school students. And so we do student assemblies, we do professional development with teachers, and then we have a curriculum development program that is wrapped around social and emotional learning and mental health.
Okay. So we're gonna jump into all of that, but I want to touch on one thing you said real quick. So you said you're a father first, and I also know that you're a girl dad. So whenever I have a girl dad on, I have to ask them my two main questions. So I'm gonna ask you that: what does it mean for you to be a girl dad? And the second question is, tell us something that your daughter has taught you.
So to be a girl dad is I mean, just to be a father, period, is important to me. I don't take it lightly. Um, I make sure that I'm very intentional with the time that I spend with my children because I know that I can't get it back. Um, but to answer your question, what it feels like to be a girl dad is it's amazing, right? But it's stressful at times because I got a girl that's a teenager, bro, and whew, like yo, like it's just like she all over the place, man. It's like the makeup and the girls and wanting to do this and wanting to do that and have to be over here and have to be over there and just all of the various activities and extracurricular activities and all her friends and all of those different things, man. And she's saying she didn't had drama at school, like just all of those little things, man. And it's been an amazing experience. It really has. And so I'm extremely grateful to be a girl dad. And I'm honored to be a father. So
Yeah. So give us something that your daughter have taught you, something that you've learned, just from your daughter.
man, something my daughter has taught me. Um, Unconditional love, like to validate my children and to let them know how proud of them I am, right? Even if they come up short, to allow them to know, like, yo, your dad is proud of you regardless of who you become or what you do in life. And so I think loving unconditionally and learning how to validate, right, my children, especially, what I'm saying, I mean all of my children, but my daughter especially, learning how to validate her, affirm her, um, and what I say, validation, affirmation, and confirmation. So being able to validate her, affirm her, and confirm her when she feels like, should I do this, should I make this decision, and empowering her. So that's what I would say. That's what one thing my daughter has taught me is just unconditional love and how to do those other things I spoke about.
All right. So at the time of this recording, my daughter is 19, so I definitely understand what you're going through right now. So, but let's jump on into this, Logan. So let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning, right?
Mhm.
Because you know you kind of went over what you do, right? But I know that when it comes to what we do, there's a backstory. There's a reason why we do what we do. So who was Logan before you became this version of yourself? And what was the experiences that you kind of went through to make you say, you know what, with what I've been through, what I've learned about myself and through my journeys, I'm going to become this person to make a difference in, the lives of these students.
Well, the Logan that I am now and the Logan that I was before this are completely two different people. I did a complete 180. I didn't do a 360. I did a 180. Um, and the person that I was before was a womanizer, you know, alcohol and drug abuse, right? I wasn't, the first 2 years of my kids being born, I was not consistent at all. I wasn't a man of my word. Like, I was very inconsistent in a lot of things. I did a lot of partying. I did a lot of drinking, a lot of, smoking, drugs, all that type of stuff. And I just wasn't fulfilling my purpose and my calling. And, I thought that I was fulfilling my purpose and my calling, but I really wasn't. You know what I'm saying? And I got tired. Like, I really got burnt out and tired. I probably say my mid-20s, because I had been partying since I was like 13, 14. Like, I was going to the clubs at, 14, 15 years old, being able to get in because I would, I could pay the bouncers and stuff like that. Or I had relationships with certain people, so I'd be able to get in. But the person that I was then, like, no, I was toxic, to say the least. And yeah, man, I just really thought that I was just like doing something. And when I look back, like, I wasn't really doing nothing because it didn't add any value. You know what I'm saying? It didn't it was just a bunch of stuff that didn't make sense. Like partying, bruh. Out of 7 days out of a week, I'm partying 6 days. Like, like it's crazy. I don't know, man. Like, it's crazy when I look back and think about the person that I used to be. Like, I go to therapy, and so I'm very big in therapy. I'm a huge advocate for it, and I can remember when I really started to become self-aware of my behaviors and emotions and the person that I was designed to be. I started pulling back those layers. And man, I used to early on, especially early on with my therapy, I had to go back, man, and apologize to certain people that I hurt, because I'm like, bro, like, I can't believe that that was me. I can't believe that I did those things. And so for me, I had to really like pull those layers back, because I know, like I said, I was a womanizer. So I know I hurt some feelings. I know that I hurt some hearts, and I didn't want that for my kids. So I just, I tried to make my wrongs right. So
Yeah, I wanna congratulate you on two things. Number one is seeking out therapy,
hmm
right? And
right.
because I mean, as you know, in our um, in our communities, a lot of times therapy is sometimes looked down upon. I don't think it's so much as looked down upon, but I just think we have a stigma about it, and so we are reluctant to get the help that we know that we need sometimes. On account of how we think others may look at us. So I'm definitely I'm congratulate you for even having the strength to say, you know what, I'm going to go get the help that I need. And then not only that, to be able to stand up and say it. That's why I love to have men on the show, and especially Black men, like yourself, because we're able to be those examples of what we need as men to be able to hear and see, because we all are dealing with, traumas that we grew up with. We're dealing with, just situations that we face on a day-to-day basis, and just manhood, just within itself. And sometimes we need those people to be able to go back to and say, you know what, help me figure this out. And so I congratulate you on, taking that stance to go and to get the help that you need, and to be voiceful about speaking up about it. And the other part is to be able to be man enough to apologize. And I think that's a big thing in this time frame that we are in right now, even within our communities with our young boys, where we have this false narrative with this false confidence that we're too big to apologize. We're too big to admit when we're wrong, and a lot of times we are emotionally unstable. So we face everything with aggression, and so that's leading us to a lot of the issues that we're having now, with the crime and the fighting and things like that amongst ourselves, because we don't know how to just be man enough to say I'm sorry. And a lot of times it just comes we don't necessarily have the example to do so. So again, I congratulate you on that, for being able to step out there and be that example.
Oh,
Um,
well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I mean, it's go ahead, go ahead.
no, go. You finish. Finish what you're
No, I
trying to
was
say.
just gonna say, like, I didn't have that. I didn't have that example of I didn't have a blueprint for being a father, right? Because I did. My biological dad wasn't there. Now, granted, I have my adopted parents. However, my biological parents, they wasn't in the mix for real, not consistently. So I didn't really have that blueprint. And my grandmother, she did the best that she could, and I just got tired. Like I got tired of seeing, I got tired of seeing other people being happy and healing and having a two-parent household and just all of those different things, man. And I was just like, yo, like, Logan, if you don't fix yourself, you can't fix nobody else. Right? Because a lot of times, bro, I ain't gonna say a lot of times, but sometimes, bro, it's not other people that's the problem, it's us. You know what I mean? And so sometimes our enemy is our inner me.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like it's not what somebody did. So like sometimes it's not what somebody did to us. It's us. And so for me, I was like, yo, like, bro, I gotta pivot. Like I really gotta change some things because I seen it. Like I seen like, yo, if I continue to go down this path of toxicity and wanting to run away from our problems and blame other people and not take accountability, like, bro, I'm going to continue with these generational curses and I'm going to continue with having this mask on that I got it all together and I'm happy when I'm really not.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Let's talk about, even with your program. The name of your program is Why Be Normal. So
right.
what was the first of all, where did the name come from? But then what was the premise behind it, and what is the principles that you speak on, behind the whole program of Why Be Normal?
So 2015, man, back home in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Shout out to Chattanooga. Um, we had somewhere, I want to say June and July, we had somewhere between 15 to 20, no more than 25 killings in a week. That's massive compared to Chicago, you know what I'm saying? Atlanta, Houston, New York, California, you know what I'm saying? Like those bigger cities, like that's massive compared to us because we're a small city. We're right smack dab in the middle of all of the bigger cities, right? So we're an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours away from Atlanta, maybe 2 hours away from Nashville, 5 hours away from Memphis, 4 hours away from Charlotte, maybe an hour and 30, maybe an hour and 30 minutes away from Huntsville, right? We're 4 hours away from Kentucky, like, and 6 hours away from Florida. So it's just like we're smack dab in the middle of everything. And it was a lot. And I knew majority of those people that got hurt in some type of form or fashion, right? Whether if it was we went to school together, we played sports together, our families knew each other, different things like that. And I felt like it was a cry out for help. That's what I felt like it was. And I can remember in 1 hour, I had 40 missed calls from people saying, Logan, did you hear this person died? Logan, this person got shot. Logan, did you hear about this girl's daughter getting shot? Oh, Logan, such and such pulled the trigger. Like, I had got so many calls and messages from people, and I was just like, what is going on? Because at the time, I was in Florida on a vacation. And it was just like, yo, like, what in the world is going on? And I felt like that was a cry out for help. And I can remember my grandmother always telling me, Logan, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, no matter who you are, what you become, you always leave the place better than the way that you found it. So for me, that was a cry out for help. And I was like, okay, I need to do something. I need to I need to do some work in my community. I need to empower people. I need to love on folks, and I need to really serve and add value in people's lives. And so that's what I did. And our very first thing that we did was we helped the homeless. So I had people donate shoes to me. I want to say over 70 pairs of shoes. And I just went downtown to the homeless community, and I just gave them away. And I said, "Hey, listen, y'all come over here. I'm going to give away, shoes. We gave away shoes. We gave away pizza and all of those different things." And I can remember how I I can remember the smiles for the people that were around me, and I was just like, okay, like, all right, cool. Like, you got shoes to wear. You know what I'm saying? Like, something as small as that. I was like, yo, you got shoes to wear. Okay, listen, you got a hot meal now. So I was like, okay, how can we expound on this? And so I started doing a community event called Cut the Hate and Share the Love. And what that is where we partner with local barbers and stylists in the community. And they get haircuts. So whether if it was whether if it was a hairstylist or a barber, they were giving, giving styles to little girls, giving haircuts to people. The people less fortunate in the homeless community would get gently worn shoes and clothes. They would get a hot meal, as well as we added a medical component where we would bring in the local hospitals that would partner with us, and they would offer different services and things like that, just giving people pamphlets and information about some of the services that they offer. We also partner with an insurance person where they did Medicare and Medicaid, so they would get those people on insurance that didn't have it. And then we also partner with the local American Job Center, because I was like, yo, like, I hear I had people come to me, you know what I'm saying, and say, "Hey, Logan, I can't get no job. I'm out here trying, da da da." So I was like, "Okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna bring it to you. Now you have no excuse." So we started doing that, and we did that for about 4 years, right until COVID hit. Once COVID hit, we had to stop, of course. But that's where we got started at, and it was just about serving for me. That's all it was about. It wasn't about nothing else. It wasn't about people acknowledging me. It wasn't about being on the limelight. Like, it wasn't about none of that. I literally just wanted to serve others and add value to other people, and that's how we got started. And then Why Be Normal? Originally, I wanted to name it just how we would spell it originally, which is WHYBE and then normal with the question mark. And for me, I was like, yo, how can I create a conversation piece? That is literally how the why be normal and the way that it's spelled is, because I want you to see it, and I want you to be like, I want you to ask yourself, why be normal? Why be normal? And then it finally hits people, and they like, oh, you right. Like, why do I want to be normal? So, that is why I started it. And then, to expound on what, we speak to kids is like, yo, I want to show them something different. Like you could come from a small city. It don't matter where you come from, right? As long as you put the work in, as long as you are consistent, I promise you it's going to work out for you. Because what I tell people is, listen, if you build it, they will come. A lot of times what happens is that people are not consistently building or expounding upon, right, the gift that God has granted them with, and so they get mad when they don't get the results. But you can't get mad at the results that you don't get, all because you didn't put the work in. So when it comes to that, it was a conversation piece. And so when people see it, they're asking the question to themselves, like, yo, why do I want to be normal? So, I talk about how you can overcome, you know what I'm saying? You can overcome poverty. You can overcome suicidal thoughts or suicide, ideology. You can overcome, being molested and different things like that. Like, you don't have to accept the life that's been given to you.
Yeah, and you guys definitely hit the ground running, with everything that you mentioned. So I want to ask one question. So how did you get into the speaking part of it? Like, when did that become something that, okay, I'm already serving, but now I want to serve on a different level, or in a different space, until you started speaking. So what was it that made you even cross over into that area?
So, I actually had my very first speaking engagement was 2015, September. Yeah, no, October, excuse me, October of 2015. And I can remember the middle school basketball coach was like, "Hey, man, I want you to come and speak to my boys." Cause me and him would just talk, and I was just like, "Hey, bro, like if you need me to do anything, like anything that I can do, any way that I can help or serve, like, hey, let me know." And he was just like, "All right." And just one day, he just randomly just hit me up and was like, "Hey, man, can you come next week to do X, Y, and Z, just to talk to my boys and tell them, you know what I'm saying, about what you do and where you come from?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah." And so, man, just, there's a lot of people that speak and they come from the tree of ET. I'm one of those people, right? Like, and when I say ET, I'm talking about Dr. Eric Thomas. Um, he he really showed me the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, he showed me the ins and outs. Then I got connected to Jeremy. And then I got connected to other people, you know what I'm saying, in the education space that speak, or basically that speak. But specifically where I'm at, I got connected to Jeremy because he speaks in the education space. And so, man, just being connected, man, like being connected to those guys and, various people that I'm connected to, like they give me the game. And so for me, like that's where I got started at. And I was like, "Oh, bro, I like this. Like, okay, I like this." Like, you could see the kids, like when I spoke to them, they was locked in and they had that very serious face, like where they locked in and they listening to what you saying. And man, I didn't realize, I didn't realize the words that we put out, not to ourselves, but to people, bro. Like it makes them, it can take them to a whole nother level in life. And for me, it was like, yo, like I want to tell y'all, like, yo, you can do X, Y, and Z. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying, go down this path or do these certain things. And you need to be coachable, and why being coachable is important and different things like that. And I can see how locked in they was, man. And I remember hitting the coach up and I was like, "Hey, man, so what you think? How the boy?" He was like, "Man, I ain't never seen them play like this. I ain't never seen them practice like this. Like, man, they was communicating and helping on defense and just playing as a team." And I was just like, wow, like all off of what I just said for the 15 minutes. Like, wow. So I was like, okay, cool. And so for me, I started reaching out to schools, and I was like, "Hey, can I come speak?" And I ain't know nothing, bro. Like when I say I didn't know nothing, like, bro, I didn't know. No, I didn't know that. I need to be asking about money, and I need to be talking about, what my speech will be about and how it can add value. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, these are your pain points. This is how I can be the solution to the pain point. Like, bro, I ain't know none of that. Like, I
Right.
literally didn't know none of that, and I just started like researching, and then I started finding different courses for people that were like, "Hey, I was in this education space. I spoke. I made millions of dollars doing this. Here's my social proof." And there were a few courses, that I invested in, and they wasn't who they said they was. So it was a
Mhm.
waste of money for me. But I got, I found a few people, invested in some courses, and just started going from there. And it wasn't until I want to say 2019 is when we really got our break. Um, I can remember going to a school. I remember our curriculum program. So we have a curriculum development program, and I know you'll probably ask me about that later on, or we can talk about it later. But we had a curriculum program. Our very first two clients gave us an opportunity, And one of the clients, which was a female principal, she went to another school. And she said, "Hey, Logan, I want you to come in and speak to my students. What's your fee?" And I was like, "Huh, what? What's my what?" She said, "Logan, what's your fee? Like, I need you to send it over to me. Let me know." Bro, don't you, man, listen. Bro, I was so nervous. Bro, so nervous because I didn't know. I didn't know what to tell her. Didn't at all. And I lowballed myself, right? I lowballed myself, one. Two, I didn't know my real value. Three, I didn't like I wasn't doing it for the money. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just like, oh, I get an opportunity, boom, let's do this. And I remember charging her 1,500, and I was so nervous, bro. Like I was like, it's 1,500, but hey, if you ain't got that, like we could, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm getting ready to talk myself out of $1,500.
Right.
And I can remember sending that email to her, sending her the invoice, and all she said was okay. She was like, okay, cool. Wait, what? So this is what it feels like? Okay, boom. So that's where we started at. And then next thing you know, other schools and other principals started hearing and seeing, and they like, oh, we want YB Norman at our school. Oh, you at YB Norman, oh, we want them at our school. So started doing those things, man, and it just started catching like wildfire.
Yeah, yeah, and you always know that you charge too little when there's no there's no fight. It's like, oh yeah, this is the price, and they're like, oh yeah, okay, we'll take it. It's like, dang,
Man, listen,
should have
bro.
went up so.
I'll
But
be,
just like you mentioned about ET, definitely I came across Eric ET, which is Dr. Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher. For those who haven't heard, but if you listen to the podcast, you've heard me talk about it before. So, but I came across ET maybe a year or so ago when I was going through some things myself, and just started on a journey of trying to find myself and personal development and things like that. And just like yourself, listening to him and seeing what he was doing, but then being able to go down that line and connect those dots to where I came across Jeremy Anderson, and the Next Level Speakers Program, and joined that, myself, because I had already been speaking in the space of preaching, as in churches and things like that. But to take that to build a career out of it as a speaker at schools and conventions and things like that, I hadn't, crossed over into that yet. And so that was how I got into the Next Level speakers thing. But I want to talk two things I want to talk about. First, let's talk a little bit more about your curriculum and going into the schools with your curriculum. So tell us a little bit about what that details and what you offer to schools. Because I'm sure there's some principals and decision makers that's listening right now who may want to know what it's all about. So just give us a quick rundown of what you offer and what you teach, so that we all know what that curriculum details.
oh yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, in a nutshell, our curriculum basically, in a nutshell, what it does is that it's used as a tool to build the relationship between the teacher and the student. In a nutshell. However, you know what I'm saying? We do exit tickets, different things like that. We do. It's our curriculum helps kids identify with self-awareness, time management, um, those life skills, those soft skills, and things like that. And so our curriculum, man, like I said, it's wrapped around social and emotional learning and mental health. What that looks like is that we do four, we do 4 sessions with students at the middle school and high school level. And so what that looks like is like, so for example, week one is it's 4 units. So for 4 units, that equals one total session. Does it make sense?
Mhm.
It's 45 minutes to an hour. You could have, you could have our team at YB Normal facilitated, or you could have the teachers facilitated, just depending on, you know what I'm saying, which tier option you pick, because we have 3 different tiers. And also with that, they get to have materials, which is social and emotional learning journals. So we have those, and they're transcribed in English and Spanish. And so we have those, and they're able to get the social and emotional learning journals, as well as videos. So videos that go with the lessons, and they can follow, and what it looks like, and different things like that. And so that's what our curriculum does. It helps. It is a helps kids de-stress, helps them identify with self-awareness internally and externally. What does that look like? What is self-management, time management, and different things like that. And then from the mental health aspect, self-awareness, internal and external trauma, and different things like that. And so that's what the curriculum does. And right now we have four schools that we've partnered with for our curriculum development program. And granted, yes, we're still growing every day. But right now, our curriculum is in 4 different school districts at the moment.
Okay, cool. So let's go back a little bit, because when we were talking about um, even the situation from your hometown, with the killings and things like that. One of the things that you said was that you heard it as a cry for help, and I definitely believe that I'm sure that it was, So when we're thinking about just what everybody may have been going through at that time, there comes a place where we have to find that inner healing,
Mm-hmm.
within ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
as individuals, and definitely as a community,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to, hear that inner voice that is crying for help, and then to be able to address it. So when you're talking to someone, because I know one of the things that I heard you mention was even suicide, right? And so I'm very vocal about my experience with contemplating suicide. I didn't try it, but I was in a space in my life where I was going through depression and all these other things.
Right.
And my mom passed away at that time. And so I had my own battle with it. And I'm very open, about sharing that, because like I said, I want it to be normal. I want these conversations to be had amongst us as men, and just amongst in our community, so that we know there are people that has been through it, that has dealt with it, and are still here to be able to help you to get through it too.
Right.
And so when you're talking about that inner healing that has to take place, and where your community was at that time, what is something that you can identify with that they may have needed, or even something that you may now even provide, to those similar communities that can help them, get that inner healing to get to where they need to be.
So what's the question you're asking me?
So when we're talking about the inner healing,
Right.
just like from if I was coming to you, and I
Mhm.
am, and I'm asking you, just like some tips or some points that you could give our community to kind of start building our way out of those situations, and being able to address the issues that we're having. What would be a couple tips that you would give us?
It's a good question. A couple tips, man, I would give is like being real with yourself, right? Like I can remember, I made 3 attempts to commit suicide before I was 18 because I didn't know my value, right? I didn't love Logan, didn't love Logan. Logan wasn't rocking with Logan. Like I always tell my son, you know what I'm saying? Like Noah got to rock with Noah. Um, so I would say first, when you're having those thoughts, and when you're going through that season or that journey, a lot of times, man, you just be in your own head. And so you got to ask yourself, like, who told you that? Like, who told you that you're not worthy of love, or you're not worthy to be amazing, or you're not worthy to, accomplish your goals? Like, ask yourself, who told you that? Who told you that? You know what I'm saying? Even with dealing with death, right? Like you said, you lost your mom and how it put you in, a bad headspace. That's okay, right? Like it's okay that you were put in a bad headspace, just as long as you don't stay there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think being able to understand and navigate, like, like, give yourself an opportunity to feel what you feel. Don't suppress it. Don't throw it. Don't try to hurry up and throw it away because you want to seem like, oh, I'm Teflon. I can do this. Like, no, bro. Like, it's okay because you're human. So what I tell people is like, yo, feel what you feel. Give yourself a time limit on you feeling what you feel, though, because if you don't, you're gonna stay there, right? So for me, what I do is I give myself now where I'm at in life, like I give myself maybe 10 minutes. Maybe a day. It depends on what it is. But for the most part, I give myself like 10, 15 minutes. I give myself 10, 15 minutes. I'm going to cry. I'm going to vent. I'm going to complain. I may scream. I may holler, whatever the case may be, right? I am going to do that. After that, it's like, okay, what's the solution to the problem?
Right.
How can we fix this? What do I need? What do I need to do to fix what I'm feeling? So of course, doing that, and then like I said, asking yourself, like, who told you that? Like, I know for me, when I used to have those negative thoughts, I'd be like, who told you that? And if I couldn't come up with an actual person that actually told me that, I knew, okay, Logan, you in your head. You got to get out of your head. And then, the last thing is like, hold yourself accountable. Because being vulnerable, for some people, being vulnerable is a superpower, right? Like I can go into any space, right? Whether if it's, schools, whether if it's foster care centers, whether if it's a community event, like I can go out and I can authentically be myself because I walk in my truth and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed to walk in my truth. I'm not ashamed to tell people that I was molested. I'm not ashamed to tell people that I went through a divorce. I'm not ashamed to tell people that I almost killed myself. I'm not ashamed to tell people that, hey, listen, I was not the best father for the first 2 years of my kid's life. Like I was still out in the streets. I was still chasing girls. Like I can say those things and know, like, yo, that's not who I am.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. And because that's big with the accountability. I think that plays such a huge part in us to be able, first of all, to even address the things that's going on with us. Because once we become, once we face it, then it's easier for us to address it. You know what I mean? And then make the necessary changes. And I
Right.
like another thing that you said, we're giving yourself the time, right? And I remember
Absolutely.
listening to someone else on another podcast, and they mentioned that that's one of the things that they do. Like they give themselves 10 minutes, to complain or whatever about whatever problem. And if the emotion behind it has to last past that 10 minutes, then they make a choice. Okay, I'm gonna stop right now, but then I'll pick it up tomorrow. And they
Right.
said when they get to the next day and they think about it, now it's 24 hours later. And when they go to address it, they realize it wasn't even that important. So now
Right.
they don't even have to pick it back up. They can just keep it
Right.
moving, with the rest of the day. And I love that. I think that's real good. And I appreciate the tips that you gave us. Logan, I appreciate you coming on, man. I appreciate you, taking out your time for your day. I want you to have the last say, right? So I want you to leave us with something, words of encouragement, or whatever the wording is that's placed on your heart to be able to leave the listeners with something that they can carry, to get them through the week, right? Or just to get them to wherever that next challenge may be. And also definitely share your information, websites if you have it, and social media links and things like that. So I'll give you a couple seconds to think about that. To my listeners, thank you guys once again for listening. And I told you guys that I will let you know how you could win $100 from the podcast. And the way to do that is to enter our $100 super subscriber contest. And what does that mean? That means you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to our Facebook page, and also to our podcast on Spotify, or definitely on Spotify, but also on whatever podcast audio distribution platform that you listen to. But after you've done that, those three things, then you would text the word WIN, WIN, to the number 866-326-0730. That's 866-326-0730. And that will enter you into the contest and make you qualified to be able to win $100. And the contest is ongoing, so it never stops, and it's random. So on any day, at any time, I can pull your name out and you'll win $100 just for doing something that you're already going to do anyway, which is listen to the podcast, because you're listening right now. So I appreciate it. Make sure you guys do that. Again, join our super subscriber contest for a chance to win $100. You must subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and our podcast on Spotify. And that's how you win $100. So, Logan, again, thank you so very much, sir, for taking out time from your family and from your busy day to, spend time with us. So I'm going to let you have the last word. So the floor is yours.
Okay. All right. Well, first, let me say this before I get into it is I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to you. Allow me to give you your flowers, because I mean, listen, bro, you in 3 seasons and this is episode 73. Most people don't get that far.
Yeah.
Most people don't get that far. So I want to celebrate you before we close it out. And I want to give you your flowers and let you know how phenomenal you are, how amazing you are, and let you know that we see you and we appreciate what you do in this community when it comes to podcasts, when it comes to healing, when it comes to fulfilling your purpose, right? Like, these things are important. These conversations need to be had, and you're leading the way. And I want to tell you thank you for that, my brother. And I really appreciate this.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. So, listen, man, I mean, I'm going to say something very simple, yet very profound. If you don't face it, you can't fix it. If you do not face it, you cannot fix it. What do I mean by that? What I mean by is that there are some things that you are holding on to. There are some things that you are experiencing. There is some opposition. There are some obstacles, right? Like, you trying to sweep it under the rug. You trying to forget about it, but it's going to continue to pop up until you deal with it. So if you don't face it, you can't fix it. And so, that's what I want to leave your listeners with, and, have them think about that. Like, what does that mean for me? And what does that look like? So if you don't face it, you can't fix it.
All right. All right. Give us your social media handles and your website information.
Our website, they can go to our website. It is www.ybnormal.org, and it's spelled just like how you see it on my shirt and my hat, ybnormal.org. And then, of course, they can pull us up with all of our social media handles the same way. ybnormal is how they can look us up on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of that. They can just put in YB Normal. But like I said, you can go to our website at ybnormal.org, and you'll be able to see all of our social media stuff and click on the links, and it'll take you to the designated area. So I look forward to connecting and building with the people that are listening here in the audience. And again, man, Ernest, I really appreciate you, bro. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. And we can't end to no better than that. To my listeners, thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, where our mission is to help you to deal to heal and to fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. So until next time, we'll see you guys next week. Be blessed. Hey guys, I know you're enjoying the podcast. However, don't forget to join our text line at 866-326-0730. That's 866-326-0730 in order to receive text messages with new events and things that is going on and new episodes as they release. All right, see you in a minute. Thanks for listening to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Remember to listen, like, subscribe, and share. This episode has been brought to you by Deal to Heal Tees. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear an inspirational tee and be inspired all day. Let's go to dealtohealtees.myshopify.com. Remember, our mission is to help you to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for listening.